Hello and welcome back to the Fullbase channel. Today is going to be a short video. First I will show the new query editor. Let's create a new controller for the project table. Click the lookup. Let's name it project demo and move it to the top here. Open up the query section and now we can see that we have two queries, one for search and one for details. And since we created them for the project table, they include the project table each. In the search query, which builds up the search panel and its search grid, let's say we want to show and also be able to filter on the project type and the augmented view project org. Click the project table and now you can see that we can select these two. Click them and they are now being added into the hierarchy. And the hierarchy corresponds to the data model that we have defined here to the left. And as you probably remember, if you want Fullbase to generate a simple drop-down in the filter section where the user can search for all projects for a specific project type, the instruction to Fullbase is to add a query to the filter section. In the new GUI, you just hover over the project type and click the lookup button. Now you got a project type in the filter section. So let's hit save and I will restart the backend in the meantime. So now let's go over to the generated application and now we can see that we have a filter panel here where you can search on all the fields from the project table and you can search for all the fields in the project type table and you can also search in the augmented view that we have defined. Let's hit search. And now the same goes here. Now everything here from the project table, from the project type table and from the augmented view is shown. Let's click one and now we get a detail. But the details, as you can see here, it's very limited. It's only the project table itself. So let's go back to the Fullbase developer and do this a bit better. Right, so now we have the details queries here. So let's click the project table and now we can see that we get the parent relations, which is the project type and also the view. Of course we want to include them. And also we want to include the many-to-many relations, the project clients and the project person roles. And now, as you see, we have now gotten the project clients relations here. So we click that. And since this is a many-to-many, we have parent tables on this particular table, one to project and one to client. And going to the project, we will only go back to ourselves where we're at. So we don't click that. We click the client. And on the client, we can go to that as well, and we can now see who is the key account manager. Yes, we want to show that. We can also do a recursive query here, where we go to each client and see which other project is that client involved in. But we don't want to do that now, so we just hit add to the key account manager. And the key account manager, we want to see which department is that working for and the gender, but we can also now see who is the manager of that key account manager. We can see which other clients are that key account manager for. Does he have any employees? Which other projects and roles are that person involved in, etc. But now we just want these two parent tables. Add that, and the same goes for project person roles. So we want to show which person is involved in this project and we want to see which role that person has. The project doesn't mean anything because it's just going back to where we are, just as we had for project clients. Hit add. And now we go to the person table. Click that and we want to just see the department and gender. We are not interested in that person's manager. We're not interested in if that person is a key account manager for other clients. We don't want to see if he's manager for other employees, and we don't want to see other projects. So we just add here. And we can see, just for fun here, role. What do we have here? We can see all the projects and all the persons that have this role. We are not interested in that in this case, but in other scenarios it would probably be very nice. And now when we edit a project, perhaps we want to show the project type just as a simple drop down. Then we can just hover that and click lookup. Probably if we are editing a person, we want to be able to change that department with the drop down, and also the perhaps gender. So we have that there, and the role, of course. If we want to change the role of a person on a project, we can just do that with the drop down. So hit that, and now these are coming up here as separate queries in the details lane. So let's hit save here, and in the meantime I will restart the backend, which is needed since we have added a lot of things to the queries. And now if we go back to the application, and we can hit search and just edit the first one here. And now we can see that we can edit everything on the project level. We can edit the name of the project. We can change this pro bono flag, and we have this project type now as a drop down. Unfortunately, my the Bootstrap theme that I have downloaded doesn't show an arrow here as normally it's done for drop down, but it really is a drop down. You can change whatever project type you want here. And then we got cards for instance, project type. So we can change this by hour and change it to by hour changed, and that you can see that it fits together with the drop down here. So it's the same instance. And if you save here, the project type name will actually be changed on the project type. And then we got the list of clients. So you can add clients, you can delete clients, and you can, when you have added the client, you can change the name of the client. You can change who is the key account manager, the department of the key account manager. For instance here, department B, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. That will actually be saved. And the key account manager, we can actually also change the department ID for the key account managers. We can change it to department A, change the name of that. For instance, we can change the gender name. We can of course change the gender of the key account manager. And as you can see, this is totally recursive, so Fullbase keeps track of this. And lastly, we got the list of persons, and so we get a list of person and a role. So we got Epsilon. He's working on this project and he's a developer. And looking at the person, we can of course change the gender of that person if we want to. We can change the department of that person, and we can change the gender and also the role. So this person is a developer here. We can change, perhaps he's a project manager now, and we want to change the name of the project manager. This is of course really ridiculous stuff, but it's just to show what Fullbase. But of course you don't want your end users to do this, and to be able to change that, just to show, we can go to this project that has been modified and altered. So now you can see that it looks a bit better. We have the project, we have this in the grid view, where we can see all the persons that are working on this project, and we also in the grid view we can see all the clients. So this is covered in previous videos, how to make it more stylish and appear as you wish. We'll leave that out for this video though. But to conclude about the query editor, I think it's much nicer now than we had it before with the text area hack. And the next thing I want to talk about today is the DateTime controller. So let's head back to the application and we go to the old project page, search, and just click here. And as you can see now, we have the deadline, which is a date component and a time component, and from now on it's on a single line. And this, we can go back to the Fullbase developer, we hit deadline, click deadline there, and we go down to the detail section, and here you can see the template is basically we use this user-defined DateTime input, which we just bind to the value. And what this means, if we go back to the code here, we have a component, and this is bundled and included in the standard templates of Fullbase DateTime input. And this is what I have done, and I am no expert whatsoever when it comes to either Bootstrap or CSS or styling. But as you can see here, we have this table trtd, not the prettiest, but it's really working. And you can of course go in and change this and make it a lot better, but I think this controller is quite nice. It's the user's local time shown to the user, and when it's saved back to the server and the database, it's stored in UTC. Go back to the application again. You can see here that when we search, you can see that we have the deadline, and this is the date and the time according to the user's local E settings, and that has been facilitated by the split for the templates. We have in the search section we have the TD, and the TD tag has now been split into which type it is. So for the date, we actually take the value and dot to locally string. Lastly, we have in the filter section, in this example, as you can see here, we have the deadline, we have from and to. So let's say that we just, you can see here we have one very old project from 1901, one from 2021. So let's say we just have from 1st of 1st 2020, just like that, and we search, and now that's from this date we should only get this project 1, and we get that. And this is done with a very simple template markup. So in the filter section for this particular controller, we have this all again very ugly, but you can do this better, I hope. We have two DateTime inputs, one to more than and another one to less than. So these, when we do it like this, we get two DateTime inputs where you can have from and to. Alright, that was it for today. Check out my GitHub in the description below, where you can see instructions on how to download Fullbase and get started. So until next time, happy coding, bye bye.